Hey, FYE Finance family, welcome to this edition of Flip It with Samara, another tutorial edition, right? So, if you've been tuning in week over week, you've seen that Flip It's been a little different. Not only am I still sharing with you accounting practices, tax practices, but I'm also showing you how to utilize those things, and I am actually walking you through financial statements, or at least that's what the past series was about, right? So the past series was about all about financial statements. We talked about the profit and loss statement, the balance sheet statement, the cash flow statement. We even talked about chart of accounts and how important it is to have those set up properly because guess what? They feed into your financial statements, right? And then last week we had a special gift just to bring it all full circle. We actually showed you a clip from one of my favorite shows, Shark Tank, as to what happens when you don't fully understand your financial statements, right? And the importance of understanding your statement and being able to communicate your financials, especially to banks, people trying to extend loans to you and or investors in that particular entrepreneur's situation. And so hopefully all of these tutorials, all of these series, or this series so far has shed some light and given you some insight as to not only how to interpret these statements, how to read these statements, but also the importance of ensuring that these financial statements are accurate, right? So, keeping with that same theme of education, because you know, at FI Finance, we're all about education. So, keeping with that same theme, we're going to start a new series, okay? And since I am a visual learner, and I'm sure many of you probably are too, we are going to be sharing with you some more tutorials, all right? Some more visual learning. And this series is all about some tools that I have created and have used in my personal life that have been very, very effective and successful for me. And so, because they have been successful for me, I am now wanting to share those tools with the FI family. So, after the live, we'll definitely give you some more information on how you can download these tools because we have a private Facebook group and we are going to make it available to all members in our private Facebook group after the live. So we'll give you some information on where you can go to sign up and join, and then be able to download the tools that we'll be talking about throughout the series, right? So the first tool that we're going to be talking about is a withholding calculator tool. Now, this tool is very, very dear to me, and it's very appropriate at this time, I should say, because we're in tax season. Okay. So what I get a lot after the tax prep process is done, right? A lot of people come to me and they say, "Hey, Samar, I saw that I have this large tax bill. Like, what can I do? Like, what can I be doing better, right? How can I manage this throughout the year so that I don't have this large bill at the end of the year?" Right. And so a lot of times it's conversations around, hey, well, here's the estimate that the IRS gave you. But I do have a tool too if you want to make sure that, you're staying in line with the estimates that the IRS also provided, right? Or I get people that say, "Hey, Samar, I got this large refund and I am really not all about loaning money to the IRS for free." Right? Because when you get a large refund, that's essentially what you're doing. And so they want now to make sure that they are not paying too much into the system, right? And so you can utilize the tool to do that as well, to ensure that you are paying close to what your liability is going to be estimated at the end of the year. So the tool does both, right? It takes care of both ends of the spectrum. Either you're overpaying or you're underpaying. The tool is designed to help better estimate what your tax liability is going to be at the end of the year, right? So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Now, I want to also preference this because when I show you the screen, you're probably going to be like, "Oh my gosh." It is Excel. Okay. So I am an accountant, y'all. So Excel is where I get down. All right. So I love playing in Excel. It brings me joy to create tools like on site, on demand for clients. in Excel because I absolutely feel very, very comfortable functioning in Excel, creating in Excel. All right. So all of my tools are going to be Excel based. I will say that. I want to preference that before I show you the screen because I know a lot of people get intimidated by utilizing Excel, but Excel is your friend. Excel is a beautiful tool. It does all the heavy lifting for you, right? Just like this tool was designed to do all the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is be mindful of the inputs, right? That's how you are successful at Excel. Just be mindful of your inputs, okay? All right, so without further ado, let's bring up the tool so you can see what we're going to be looking at, right? So the tool is in Excel, and we are going to show that screen now. All right, so here is the Excel screen, right? Again, I like to start off with all my tools by showing you how the actual, like what the tool is doing, right? So I want you to see that this is the withholding calculator, like I said before. And then I give you instructions on how to utilize the calculator, okay? So this tells you the purpose of the tool, right? And then it gives you instructions on how to maneuver around in the tool, okay? So, again, just the intro, but make sure you read through it. I'm going to cover it in the tutorial, but you always have this as a part of the tool should you get stuck or lost, okay? So now we're going to jump right into the tool. Oh, and as a side note, y'all see, like I'm really, really thorough about my SOPs. So I always like to use a lot of screenshots. So these screenshots that you're seeing here, this is what's in the tool. All right, so here's the tool itself. So again, the tool was designed to help you better estimate what your tax liability is going to be for the year. Okay. Now, with that being said, tax tables change every single year. So every single year, essentially, this tool will have to be updated. So since I am utilizing this tool to estimate for the 2022 tax year, which is the year we're currently in, I went and got the 2022 tax brackets to help me better estimate. Okay. So just keep that in mind that every year this would have to be updated to use the most recent tax brackets. Okay. So that's just a side note. So in this tool, you have two options on how you can estimate your taxes. You have option number one, which you see over here, which is going to be using historical data only. And then you have option number two, which is shown here, which is going to be using data that is like current data, right? Especially if you're going to have changes or you think that you may have changes from what happened last year, right? So the first section is showing your income. So this is your total income. This is all the money that you received in from wages, so W-2s, from 1099s, business income. This is all of that right here. That's your total income, okay? And then you have taxable income. So your taxable income is the income that you are taxed on. So this is usually calculated after your deductions are taken out. So if you are someone who is an itemizer or someone who itemizes their deductions, then that is going to be your taxable income after you deduct your itemized deductions from your gross income or your total income. Okay. If you're someone who takes the standard deduction, then this is going to be your taxable income after you take out your standard deduction. All right. So this number minus your deductions give you your taxable income. Simple, right? And so then we have a space for you to put in the tax that you paid, right? So this was the tax that was assessed on your tax return. So again, you can see that these are all historical data, right? The only thing you should be putting in here is what actually happened on your 1040, okay? And it gives you little notes by it, right? Enter the data from previous year, enter data from previous year. Here's your total income, taxable income, and your tax, okay? The reason why you want to make sure that this is accurate is because this section up here is directly tied to option number one. So option number one is basically saying, hey, according to last year, my total tax was this amount. That's the tax that I owed. And so if that remains the same, if my wages don't change, if my deductions don't change, my total tax is going to remain the same or roughly the same, right? Because we know these tax tables change. But if that remains roughly the same, then I am estimated to pay this amount every quarter. Okay, that's option number one, right? So you don't have much change going on. You didn't get married. You didn't have any kids. Not starting a new job. Everything's going to be the same, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Option number one. Now, for those who may have started a new job, right, in the new year, or maybe you got married, or maybe you had a child, maybe there was some other event that is going to change how you normally file or what you normally claim, then you're going to want to use option number two. So in option number two, again, your income goes here, W-2 wages, 1099 wages, that's your income. Deductions go here, and you can change these if you're an itemizer, whatever your estimated deductions are going to be. If you are someone who's taking the standard deduction, you plug that number in here, okay? And then that's going to give you your taxable income below it, okay? Now, this tool is so intuitive that you can even like use what you've earned year to date. So let's say that your year-to-date income, right, is 32,000, and you say, okay, well, 3 months have already passed throughout the year. So the tool is going to say, okay, well, your full year estimate is going to be $129,000, right? Or you can say, you know what? No, that 32,000, that's for the whole year. So you changing the number of months, right, that have already been captured for your total income is what's driving this full year estimate over here. So I'm gonna make sure you understand that. So you can put in here, right? Hey, my total income for the year is 57,000. And then we say that is for 12 months. Or you can say, hey, so far I've made 20,000 and 3 months have passed. Not 33 months. 3 months have passed. So now my estimate is going to be, oh, I got 33 is there. All right. Now my estimate for the full year is going to be 80,000 for the full year, right? Because 3 months have already passed, and I said year to date I've made $20,000. So the tool is intuitive enough to give you a full year estimate depending on how many months you're saying has already passed, okay? Deductions remain the same, like you're going to estimate those for the full year. Okay, deductions should not be year to date, it's going to be the full year. And then your taxable income is going to be calculated over here for the full year as well. Okay. All right. So now that we got that wrapped up, now we come down to the next section of the tool. So this is the income expected to be taxed. All right. This is directly pulling from your taxable income under your full year estimate. Okay. So it's saying, hey, 38% of your income is expected to be taxed after your deductions are taken away, right? And then you could say, okay, well, then what's my annual tax going to look like based on that logic, right? So I have a tax table that I included down here at the bottom. And this tax table is basically, like I said, it changes every year. And so it's not as robust as the tax table that is used in order to calculate your taxes on your actual 1040 form. But it definitely gets you close, all right? Because it provides you with brackets on how your income is taxed at various income levels, right? So for instance, let's just stick with single, right? So under the single, right, option, if you're a single filer, if you made anything over $1 but under $10,275, then all of that money is taxed at a 10% tax rate. Now, before we get further along, I want to explain to you that the tax brackets or the tax rates are what we call marginal tax rates. And what that means is as your income grows, right, a margin of that income is going to be taxed at a different bracket. So it's important for you to understand that even if you move into the 35% tax bracket, not all of your income is taxed at 35%. You see at various levels, some may be taxed at 10, then 12, then 22, then 24, and so forth and so forth. Okay? So you want to make sure that you have an understanding of what a marginal tax rate is. That's why the IRS uses that term, because now your total income won't be taxed at that high rate, only a margin or a portion of your income. Okay, so so right here we're going to use the tables, the brackets that we have below, in order to plug a number on what our taxes would be for the 67,000 that we're going to be taxed on. Okay, so $67,000, and we are married, single, right? No dependents, not married at all, so we're single. So you can see here, like I already did some math, right? Because I was working with like a lower taxable income. I was working with 32,000 at first, but we changed it real time. So I want to show you how to utilize the tool real time as well. So I say, okay, 10% is going to be taxed at that. So that's going to be my total tax. And then 12%, another portion of my income is going to be taxed at 12%. So that's going to be my total tax for that 30,000. And then another portion of my income is going to be taxed at 22%. So now I need to add that, right? And again, it definitely gets you close, but again, there's no exact no exact way to ensure that this is going to like get you square on, but it will get you close. All right, so we're going to add the one right below it. Again, this is in real time, so let's see. So we're going to add that one. So we said, okay, my total estimated tax is going to be roughly $15,000 that I'll have to pay out. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that that is going to be a little high. And the reason why is because this is covering all income up to $89,000. Well, we know that we only went up to $67,000, right? So this is where you're going to have to back out a little bit of money based on that information. Okay. And you can easily do that in the table below. Again, this is designed to help you estimate what your taxes are going to be. But for kicks and giggles, what I'll do for now is let's just round this up to the 89,000 so that we can see just how close this will get us to our tax estimate. Okay, so let's do that. So I am going to, because we're at 80,000, so I'm going to add, let's just add, well, that puts us a little too far over. Okay, let's add this. 21.5. Okay, I guess that's close. Let's see, let's do it 21.6. Well, shucks, let's bring it up to 22. Oh, that gets us closer. All right. So if I bring us up to the full year estimate of 88,000, which is pretty close to the 89,000, right? This is going to give us what our taxable income should be. 75,000 is going to be taxable income. That changes, right? Because we changed the number up here. Still keeping the deductions the same. And then the estimated tax that we're getting is we're pulling from the tax table below, right? So we're adding up these two, right? Because it's a marginal tax rate. So not all of our income is taxed at the same bracket. So we're going to say, hey, this portion we earned, we're going to have a tax liability of 1,000. This portion of our income, 3,700. This portion of our income, 10,000, right? So we put that estimated tax here, and then it will tell us, okay, well, based on the information that you put in the table or in the tool, this is what your estimated quarterly taxes should be. All right. And to kind of help you out, because I knew, that it's not an exact science. I say, okay, we're only going to pay 90% of the estimated taxes, right? We're only going to be withholding 90%, right? So again, that's why I said it's not an exact science, but it definitely gets you really, really close, right? So, based on that, we're saying, okay, every quarter I should be paying $3,400 every quarter. And it's easy for you to gut check that by looking at your W-2, right? If you are an entrepreneur, not only should you be looking at your W-2, and if your W-2 is not enough, guess what? You should be paying into the system anyway off of your business income. Okay, so if you're an entrepreneur that has a business, but you still work your W-2, make sure you're withholding enough on your W-2, and then make sure you're also paying in based off your business income, and they all should equal this estimated quarterly amount, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so just make sure that in totality, you are paying this into the system every quarter, okay? And the tool up here even shows you like the quarterly dates. Now, if you notice, these numbers are a little different, and I'll tell you why. Because, like I said, I designed these for small business owners. So, if you are a small business owner, you also are going to be assessed something called the self-employment tax. And that self-employment tax is 15% of your taxable income. Okay. So because you're going to be assessed that self-employment tax, I do the math down here for you, right? So I'm taking your full year income and I'm multiplying it times the 15% because I know that the IRS is going to assess that on you. Now, if you are not someone who is a small business owner, then you can simply make that zero, okay? And then once you make that zero, you see what happens. Your quarterly payments go back to what's estimated above, right? So you have the option of either making that zero or keeping the estimate that we have built in for you. It definitely is total, it's up to you, right? Because I want to make sure that whatever you're doing, you are utilizing the tools to get you as close to what your estimated liability is going to be as possible, right? So small business owners, don't worry, right? I'm looking out for you, and we're also accounting for that self-employment tax that's going to be assessed, okay? Now, please note that when they assess the self-employment tax, they also take back a little, they give you a deduction, I should say. So we account for that down there too. So that would mean that your total quarterly payments are going to be this $5,072.96. Okay, so small business owners, if you have some 1099 income, that's what you're going to be looking at for your total quarterly payments, because they're going to assess that 15% self-employment tax. Okay, again, not an exact science, right? This tool is basically going to be used as if all of this income is from small business owners. Okay, so if all of this income is from your business, then you can use this portion. If a portion of your income is from business and a portion is from W-2s, I would suggest you have two separate calculators to make sure that you are paying the correct amount of estimated tax. All right. So I want you to understand that if this income is all W-2, don't put anything down here, right? But if you have business income and W-2 income, do one for your business and then do another one for your W-2 income. And that's going to give you the best estimate possible, because the tool is just not robust enough to separate W-2 versus business income yet. Okay, not yet, but it's something I may work on because I love Excel. But for now, I would just use two separate tools to make sure that you're estimating properly. But let's go back to zero so that you can see this is what it's telling you need to pay in every quarter, okay? In order to get you to your 90%, remember I have 90%, it's not 100, it's 90. So that'll get you close to that 90% tax withholding, which I said gets you pretty close to what they will, what your tax liability will actually be at the end of the year. So it's definitely not an exact science. I want to make sure I tell you that, but it definitely gets you closer to the number than you just going about your business and hoping and praying to God that your tax preparer can find all the deductions in their power to apply to your tax return, right? Me personally, I'm somebody who likes to be prepared, so I like planning. So I don't just throw the dice and hope for the best. I like to plan. So that's what this tool is designed to do, is to help you plan. All right. And over here it shows you the tax deductions. So that's why we had this at the 12,950, because these are the new standard deductions for the filers for 2022. All right. So again, this will always update as changes come along, right? So when the tax brackets change for 2023, then I would have to update this tool for 2023, and I would have to update the standard deductions for 2023 as well. But again, this tool is designed to help you as the taxpayer do a better job of estimating what your tax liability is going to be. So just make sure that you're using these standard deductions over here, and then according to your filing status, you're plugging that in. If you're an itemizer and you feel like your itemized deductions are going to be the same, plug in that number, okay? But again, if you have all W-2 income, plug that in here. And then if you have a side hustle or your business income, use it in another calculator, right? So the same calculator, but just do another page, right? Because I don't want you to be overpaying in taxes, okay? So I want to make sure that you are utilizing the form properly to get you your best estimate, right? So that's it. I know it was a lot. I know that looking at Excel spreadsheets probably is not your forte, but again, I absolutely love working with Excel spreadsheets, and I wanted to create a tool that was not only appropriate for this time of year, and I created this tool like years ago. Because of the number of questions that I got all the time, like, how can you help me estimate, especially when the tax changes came about in 2018. A lot of people just did not know like what to expect. The taxes that they had filed in previous years just didn't look the same in this new season. So it left people a lot of questions. So this was one solution to some of those problems that I was hearing from my clients. All right. But again, as you can see, right, I love doing these type things, these type scenarios, and I love just being help, right? I love educating. So hopefully this tutorial has helped you understand, one, how your how your income is taxed, right? And then two, how you can better estimate what your taxes should be throughout the year instead of waiting at the end of the year and hoping and praying that you don't have a bill in excess of whatever amount it is, right? So again, hopefully this was helpful. I know that I promised you, that you would be able to download this tool. So in order to do so, you have to become a member of our private Facebook group. And the name of that private group is called Cutting Your Taxes 101, Debunking Tax Myths. That's the name of our private Facebook group, Cutting Your Taxes 101, Debunking Tax Myths. So look for us on Facebook, become a member of the group, and the link will be available in there for you to download this tool, so that you can start today on better estimating what your tax liability is going to be before the end of the year. So thank you so much for rocking with me, FYE Finance family. Hopefully this edition has been helpful. And until next time, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. Talk to you soon. Bye.